The boardroom fell silent as my father's words echoed off the mahogany walls. Effective immediately, Marcus will be taking over as CEO of Brennan Solutions. 20 years of my life, countless sleepless nights perfecting sustainable packaging technology, and building this company from a small Portland warehouse into a $50 million empire, all dismissed with a single sentence. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. My brother Marcus, who couldn't tell the difference between biodegradable polymers and regular plastic, smiled that practiced grin he'd perfected since childhood. The same smile he wore when he broke my science fair project in 7th grade, then watched me get blamed for not being responsible enough to protect it. The morning had started like any other Tuesday in October. I arrived at Brennan Solutions headquarters at 6:30, 2 hours before anyone else, just as I had every day for the past 8 years since earning my MBA and joining the family business full-time. The familiar scent of coffee brewing in our small kitchen mixed with the chemical smell of our testing laboratory, where my latest innovation in compostable food containers was undergoing final trials. These containers would revolutionize the restaurant industry, breaking down completely within 90 days while maintaining structural integrity better than traditional plastic alternatives. My assistant David Kim was already at his desk when I walked past, despite my repeated insistence that he didn't need to match my early schedule. David had followed me from my previous position at an environmental consulting firm 3 years ago, drawn by the mission of creating truly sustainable packaging solutions. His dedication to our shared vision had made him indispensable, managing everything from patent applications to coordinating with our manufacturing partners across the Pacific Northwest. The quarterly board meeting wasn't scheduled until 10, but I wanted to review the presentation one final time. Our third quarter numbers were extraordinary, with revenue up 38% from the previous year and our largest contract ever signed with a major grocery chain, wanting to transition all their private label products to our sustainable packaging. The technology I developed, combining recycled agricultural waste with proprietary binding agents, had finally achieved the cost-effectiveness that made large-scale adoption viable. My father, Robert Brennan, had founded the company 42 years ago with a single delivery truck and a dream of creating a more environmentally responsible approach to packaging. Back then, sustainability was barely a consideration in most industries, but Dad had an intuitive understanding that the world would eventually demand better solutions. He built Brennan Solutions through sheer determination, personally visiting every potential client and gradually expanding from local Portland businesses to regional accounts throughout Oregon and Washington. Growing up, I'd spent countless afternoons in the original warehouse, helping Dad sort recycled materials and learning about different packaging applications. While other kids played video games, I was fascinated by the engineering challenges of creating containers that could protect products during shipping while minimizing environmental impact. My bedroom walls were covered with diagrams of molecular structures and sketches of improved container designs, much to my mother Helen's bewilderment. Marcus, 3 years younger, had shown no interest in the technical aspects of the business. He preferred social activities, excelling in student government and charm-offensive strategies that made him popular with teachers and classmates alike. While I was earning my engineering degree at Oregon State, Marcus studied communications at the University of Oregon, spending more time organizing fraternity parties than attending classes. Dad always dismissed my concerns about Marcus's lack of technical knowledge with phrases like "people skills matter more than book learning," and "he'll grow into the role when he's ready." The board meeting convened precisely at 10 in our recently renovated conference room, with its floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Willamette River. Present were Dad, Marcus, myself, our CFO Patricia Sullivan, and 2 external board members Dad had appointed from his network of longtime business associates. I'd prepared an extensive presentation covering our technological breakthroughs, market expansion opportunities, and 5-year growth projections that showed potential for reaching $100 million in annual revenue by implementing my latest innovation. Patricia nodded approvingly as I explained how our new compostable coating technology could capture 30% of the food service packaging market within 18 months. The external board members asked detailed questions about production scalability and profit margins, clearly impressed by the research and development work my team had accomplished. Even Marcus appeared engaged, though I noticed he was taking notes on his phone rather than the notepad everyone else was using. After 45 minutes of technical discussion, Dad cleared his throat and announced he had an important announcement regarding company leadership transition. My heart rate accelerated with anticipation, assuming he was finally ready to discuss the succession planning we'd been postponing for years. At 68, Dad had been hinting about reducing his responsibilities, and I'd naturally assumed my track record of innovation and financial success positioned me as the logical successor. Instead, Dad's announcement shattered every assumption I'd held about fairness, merit, and family loyalty. Marcus would become CEO immediately, with Dad transitioning to an advisory chairman role. The reasoning, according to Dad, centered on Marcus's superior communication skills and ability to connect with people on an emotional level that drives sales growth. My technical expertise would remain valuable in a subordinate role, reporting to Marcus and focusing solely on research and development activities. The room temperature seemed to drop 20 degrees as I processed this information. Patricia's expression mirrored my shock, her pen frozen mid-sentence in her notes. The external board members exchanged glances that suggested this decision hadn't been discussed with them previously. Marcus, however, looked remarkably composed for someone receiving such a significant promotion, almost as if he'd been expecting this outcome. Questions flooded my mind faster than I could articulate them. When had Dad made this decision? What conversations had occurred without my knowledge? How could someone with no technical understanding of our products effectively lead a company built on innovative engineering solutions? Why hadn't my contributions over the past 8 years, including the patents that formed the foundation of our competitive advantage, earned me consideration for leadership? My voice felt distant and hollow as I asked Dad to explain his reasoning in more detail. He launched into a prepared speech about Marcus's natural leadership qualities, his ability to inspire confidence in clients, and his understanding of market dynamics that complemented my technical skill. Every word felt like another nail in the coffin of my professional aspirations, carefully crafted justifications for a decision that seemed based more on gender bias and favoritism than objective evaluation of qualification. Marcus finally spoke, his tone appropriately humble while his eyes betrayed satisfaction at this unexpected windfall. He thanked Dad for the confidence shown in his abilities and promised to honor the company's legacy while pursuing aggressive growth opportunities. He made no mention of my contributions to the company's success, no acknowledgement that the technology powering our recent growth had emerged from my laboratory and late-night problem-solving session. The meeting concluded with Dad outlining the transition timeline and administrative details, his voice maintaining the same professional tone he used for routine budget discussion. No recognition of how this decision might affect me personally, no invitation for private conversation to explain his thinking, no apparent awareness that he'd just demolished his daughter's career aspirations with bureaucratic efficiency. As the room emptied, I remained seated, staring at my presentation materials spread across the polished conference table. Months of preparation, detailed financial projections, and strategic planning documents suddenly seemed worthless, artifacts of naivety about how family businesses actually operated. Patricia paused at the door, her expression conveying sympathy mixed with professional awkwardness about commenting on family dynamics within the company structure. David appeared shortly after, having clearly sensed something significant had occurred based on the body language of people leaving the conference room. His loyalty had always been to the work we shared rather than company politics, and I could see him calculating the implications of this leadership change for our ongoing project. The new compostable coating technology required constant refinement and testing, work that Marcus couldn't possibly oversee without years of additional education. That afternoon passed in a fog of routine activities that felt suddenly meaningless. Emails about patent applications, conference calls with manufacturing partners, and laboratory reports all seemed to belong to someone else's career, someone who still believed that competence and dedication would be rewarded with appropriate recognition. By 5 o'clock, most employees had departed, leaving me alone with the whirring sounds of testing equipment and the bitter taste of professional rejection. I found myself walking through the facility that had consumed so much of my adult life, examining every corner where I'd invested time and energy into building something meaningful. The testing laboratory where I'd spent countless weekends perfecting polymer formulation. The small office where I'd celebrated patent approvals and breakthrough moments with David and our research team. The warehouse where finished products bearing my innovations were packaged for shipment to clients who valued environmental responsibility. All of it would now be under Marcus's authority, subject to his decisions about resource allocation and strategic direction. Someone who had never conducted a materials test, never stayed awake worrying about molecular stability, never felt the satisfaction of solving complex engineering challenges would be making decisions about the future of technology I'd developed. The injustice of it created a physical ache in my chest that no amount of rational analysis could diminish. Evening brought a text message from Marcus suggesting we meet for dinner to discuss the transition and his vision for our working relationship going forward. The casual tone of his message, as if nothing fundamental had changed between us, illustrated how completely he misunderstood the magnitude of what had occurred. Brothers and sisters might compete for parental approval in childhood, but professional betrayal between adults carried different consequences, particularly when one person's life work became subordinate to another's ambition. I declined his dinner invitation with a polite response about needing time to process the day's developments, then drove home to my Pearl District condominium overlooking the Portland skyline. The city lights that usually provided comfort now seemed cold and distant, illuminating a landscape where I no longer held the position I'd earned through years of dedicated work and measurable achievement. Sleep came fitfully that night, interrupted by dreams where I presented brilliant innovations to empty conference rooms, while Marcus received applause for accomplishments he couldn't explain. By dawn, a different kind of clarity had emerged from the emotional turbulence of the previous. Dad had made his choice, prioritizing whatever factors had convinced him that Marcus deserved the CEO position. The question now was what choice I would make in response. The next morning, I arrived at the office to find a stack of transition documents on my desk, outlining my new reporting structure and responsibilities under Marcus's leadership. The organizational chart showed my position subordinated not just to Marcus, but to several sales managers with no technical background who would now have input on research and development priorities. My laboratory budget would require Marcus's approval, as would decisions about patent applications and collaboration with external research institutions.
Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story.
David knocked on my office door around 9, carrying 2 cups of coffee and wearing the concerned expression that meant he wanted to discuss something important. He'd spent the evening researching Marcus's background and qualifications, trying to understand the logic behind Dad's decision. His conclusion aligned with my own assessment. Marcus possessed neither the technical knowledge nor the industry experience necessary to lead a company built on innovative engineering solutions. Our conversation was interrupted by Marcus himself, appearing in my doorway with the confident smile I'd learned to distrust over decades of sibling interaction. He wanted to schedule one-on-one meetings with all department heads to discuss his vision for the company's future, starting with me as his most important collaborator in maintaining our technological edge. The condescending tone he used, speaking to me as if I were a valuable employee rather than his sister who had built the foundation of the company's recent success, confirmed that this working relationship would be unsustainable. Marcus outlined his immediate priorities, focusing primarily on sales expansion and marketing initiatives designed to capitalize on growing demand for sustainable packaging solutions. He spoke confidently about market opportunities and revenue projections, clearly having done some homework since yesterday's announcement. However, when I asked specific questions about technical challenges we'd need to overcome to achieve his ambitious goals, his responses revealed fundamental misunderstandings about our manufacturing processes and product capability. The final straw came when Marcus suggested that my research team could probably develop solutions to these technical challenges pretty easily, since we'd already solved the hard parts of creating biodegradable packaging. His casual dismissal of years of complex engineering work, combined with assumptions that future innovations would emerge automatically from past successes, demonstrated exactly why he was unqualified to lead a technology-driven company. After Marcus left my office, I sat quietly for several minutes, feeling the weight of a decision that had been building since yesterday's boardroom announcement. Every rational analysis pointed to the same conclusion. Staying at Brennan Solutions under Marcus's leadership would mean watching my life's work be gradually diminished by someone who couldn't appreciate its complexity or importance. My choice was between professional suicide by slow degradation or immediate termination by resignation. I opened my laptop and began typing a resignation letter that would end my 8-year tenure at the family business. The words came easily, professional language concealing the emotional devastation of leaving work that had defined my identity and aspiration. David read over my shoulder as I wrote, his expression shifting from surprise to understanding as he realized I was choosing to walk away rather than accept subordination to Marcus's authority. By noon, my resignation letter was complete, requesting immediate departure rather than the customary 2-week notice period. I printed 2 copies, one for Dad and one for Human Resources, then spent an hour organizing my personal files and research notes. The patents belonged to the company, but my understanding of how to implement and improve the technology would leave with me, creating knowledge gaps that Marcus would struggle to fill. Dad's reaction to my resignation was predictably disappointing, focusing on accusations of disloyalty and ingratitude rather than acknowledgement that his decision might have consequences. He seemed genuinely surprised that I would choose to leave rather than accept the new organizational structure, as if my professional ambitions were less important than maintaining family harmony. The conversation became heated when I explained that I couldn't work for someone who lacked basic understanding of our products and processes. Marcus appeared during our argument, his expression shifting from concern to relief as he realized my departure would eliminate potential challenges to his authority. He made perfunctory efforts to convince me to reconsider, but his body language suggested he preferred having complete control without the complication of my technical expertise and established relationships with key clients. The brother who had competed with me for parental attention throughout childhood was now prepared to accept my professional exile as the price of his advancement. By 3 o'clock that afternoon, I had cleaned out my office, returned my company laptop and access cards, and said goodbye to colleagues who seemed stunned by the sudden departure of someone they considered integral to the company's success. David waited until the end of the day to submit his own resignation, citing his unwillingness to continue without proper technical leadership and his belief that the company would struggle to maintain its innovative edge under the new management structure. Walking out of Brennan Solutions headquarters for the final time felt like leaving a piece of my identity behind, but also marked the beginning of something entirely new and uncertain. 8 years of professional growth, relationship building and technical innovation had ended with a single executive decision that prioritized family politics over merit-based leadership. The injustice stung, but underneath the disappointment, a different emotion was emerging: determination to prove that my contributions had value beyond the confines of my father's company. That evening, I sat in my condominium overlooking the city where I'd built my career, surrounded by boxes of personal items and research notes that represented my professional life up to this point. The immediate future was uncertain, with no clear plan for what came next, but the alternative of remaining subordinate to Marcus had been unacceptable. Sometimes the most important decisions require walking away from situations that diminish your potential, even when the immediate consequences seem overwhelming. The phone rang several times throughout the evening, calls from colleagues and clients who had heard about my resignation and wanted to understand what had happened. Each conversation reinforced my belief that Dad's decision had been based on factors other than business logic, as person after person expressed surprise that someone with my track record and technical expertise wouldn't be leading the company into its next phase of growth. By midnight, a rough plan was beginning to form in my mind. The sustainable packaging industry was experiencing unprecedented growth, driven by environmental regulations and consumer demand for responsible alternatives to traditional material. My patents might belong to Brennan Solutions, but my knowledge, experience, and relationships with suppliers and potential clients belonged to me. Starting over would be challenging, but not impossible, particularly if I could attract talented people like David who shared my vision for what the industry could become. The next morning brought a call from Patricia Sullivan, who had decided to resign her CFO position rather than work for Mark. Her reasons aligned with mine: lack of confidence in his technical competence and unwillingness to watch a successful company be potentially mismanaged by someone who didn't understand its core strength.
Patricia's departure would create additional challenges for Marcus, as she possessed institutional knowledge about financial operations and client relationships that would be difficult to replace quickly. Over coffee at a Pearl District cafe, Patricia and I discussed the possibility of collaborating on a new venture focused on advanced sustainable packaging solutions. Her financial expertise combined with my technical background could create a formidable foundation for competing with established companies, including Brennan Solutions. The conversation was preliminary and cautious, but it represented the first concrete step toward rebuilding my professional life on terms I could control. That afternoon, I received an unexpected call from Elena Vasquez, a venture capital partner I'd met at an industry conference 6 months earlier. Elena specialized in environmental technology investments and had been impressed by my presentation about biodegradable packaging innovation. She'd heard through industry networks about my departure from Brennan Solutions and wanted to explore whether I might be interested in developing those innovations within a new company structure. Elena's call represented an opportunity I hadn't anticipated: access to startup capital and business development resources that could accelerate the launch of an independent venture. Her firm had successfully funded several environmental technology companies that had grown into industry leaders, providing not just financial backing but strategic guidance and market connections that improved chances of success. The conversation with Elena lasted nearly 2 hours, covering everything from patent landscape analysis to potential manufacturing partnerships and go-to-market strategy. Her questions were sophisticated and well-informed, demonstrating genuine understanding of both the technical challenges and business opportunities in sustainable packaging. By the end of our call, she had invited me to prepare a formal business plan for presentation to her investment committee within 30 days. Walking through downtown Portland that evening, I felt energized for the first time since Dad's boardroom announcement 3 days earlier. The shock and disappointment of being passed over for promotion had given way to excitement about possibilities that wouldn't have existed if I'd remained at Brennan Solutions. Sometimes professional setbacks create opportunities for growth that would never emerge from comfortable, predictable career paths. The next week was a whirlwind of research and planning, as I threw myself into developing a comprehensive business plan that would convince Elena's investment committee to fund my new venture. David joined the effort enthusiastically, contributing market analysis and competitive research while maintaining his day job during the 2-week notice period at Brennan Solutions. Our evening meetings in my condominium became strategy sessions for building something entirely new and potentially revolutionary. The business plan that emerged from our collaboration was ambitious but achievable, outlining a 3-phase approach to building a sustainable packaging company that could capture significant market share within 5 years. Phase 1 involved developing improved versions of biodegradable technologies I'd created at Brennan Solutions, using different approaches that wouldn't infringe on existing patents. Phase 2 focused on scaling manufacturing and establishing distribution partnerships throughout the western United States. Phase 3 targeted national expansion and development of next-generation packaging materials that could replace virtually all petroleum-based containers. Elena's response to our business plan exceeded my most optimistic expectations. Her investment committee approved initial funding of $2 million, with additional capital available based on achievement of specific milestones related to product development and customer acquisition. The terms were favorable, maintaining my majority ownership while providing Elena's firm with significant influence over strategic decisions and board composition. Choosing a name for the new company required careful consideration of branding implications and market positioning relative to established competitors. After evaluating dozens of options, we settled on Aurora Industries, suggesting innovation, new beginnings, and the dawn of a new era in sustainable packaging. The name also avoided direct reference to environmental themes, allowing us to appeal to clients motivated primarily by cost savings and performance rather than ecological concern. The legal process of incorporating Aurora Industries and establishing operations took several weeks, during which Marcus's leadership at Brennan Solutions began showing predictable signs of strain. Industry contacts reported confusion about technical specifications for existing products, delays in responding to client inquiries about customization options, and uncertainty about the company's ability to deliver promised innovations without my involvement. Patricia's departure had also created financial reporting challenges that Dad was struggling to manage while maintaining his other responsibilities. Meanwhile, my own situation was improving rapidly as Aurora Industries moved from concept to operational reality. Elena's connections facilitated lease negotiations for laboratory and office space in an Austin technology park, offering both cost advantages and access to a skilled workforce with experience in advanced manufacturing. The decision to relocate outside Portland was strategic, avoiding direct competition with Brennan Solutions, while positioning Aurora Industries within a business environment known for supporting innovative startups. David's enthusiasm for the Austin opportunity convinced him to relocate as well, accepting the position of Vice President of Operations and bringing valuable continuity to our product development effort. His departure from Brennan Solutions created additional technical knowledge gaps that Marcus would need to address through expensive consulting arrangements or time-consuming recruitment of replacement personnel. By early December, just 2 months after my resignation from the family business, Aurora Industries had established operations in a modern facility designed specifically for advanced materials research and small-scale manufacturing. Our initial team included David, 2 additional engineers recruited from competitors, and a sales manager with extensive experience in the food service packaging market. The rapid progress from concept to operational startup demonstrated what could be achieved when technical expertise was combined with adequate capital and strategic focus. Elena's guidance proved invaluable during these early stages, particularly regarding business development strategies and partnership opportunities that leveraged her firm's extensive network of industry connections. Her approach emphasized building sustainable competitive advantages through superior technology and customer service rather than competing primarily on price, aligning perfectly with my own philosophy about creating long-term value in the sustainable packaging market. The holidays provided a brief respite from the intensity of launching Aurora Industries, allowing time for reflection on how dramatically my professional situation had changed in just 3 months. Dad's decision to promote Marcus had initially felt like personal rejection and professional catastrophe, but the consequences had ultimately created opportunities for growth and independence that wouldn't have existed within the family business structure. Christmas dinner with my parents was predictably awkward, with Dad maintaining his position that I had overreacted to a reasonable business decision while Mom attempted to mediate between competing versions of family loyalty and professional ambition. Marcus's absence from the gathering, explained as a business trip to evaluate potential acquisition targets, provided relief from what would have been an even more uncomfortable situation. The new year brought renewed focus on Aurora Industries' product development objectives and go-to-market strategies. Our first major breakthrough came in February when the engineering team successfully created a biodegradable coating material that outperformed existing alternatives in both durability and decomposition speed. The innovation built on my previous research, but used entirely different chemical approaches, ensuring patent independence while delivering superior performance characteristics. Field testing of our initial products with several restaurant chains produced enthusiastic responses from operations managers struggling to comply with new environmental regulations in multiple states. The combination of environmental benefits, cost competitiveness, and reliable supply made Aurora Industries an attractive alternative to both traditional packaging suppliers and newer competitors with less proven track record. By spring, our order backlog had grown to the point where expansion of manufacturing capacity became necessary, a challenge that Elena's investment committee addressed through additional funding of $3 million. The second round of investment validated our business model while providing resources needed to scale operations and expand our product line beyond food service applications into retail packaging market. The success of Aurora Industries inevitably created tension with Brennan Solutions, as clients began comparing our offerings with their traditional supplier and finding our solutions more attractive. Industry trade publications noted the emergence of Aurora Industries as a significant new competitor, often mentioning my previous role at Brennan Solutions and the technical innovations that had established the company's market position before my departure. Marcus's response to this competition was predictably focused on protecting existing client relationships rather than developing improved products that could compete effectively with Aurora Industries' innovation. His sales background served him well in maintaining short-term revenue, but the lack of technical leadership was becoming apparent to clients who needed customized solutions or answers to complex application questions. Dad's position was more complicated as he seemed simultaneously proud of my entrepreneurial success and resentful that it had come at the expense of family business unity. Several attempts at reconciliation during the spring yielded polite but superficial conversations that avoided addressing the fundamental disagreement about merit-based leadership versus family favoritism in business decisions. The industry conference circuit provided numerous opportunities to demonstrate Aurora Industries' capabilities to potential clients and partners, with our technical presentations consistently receiving positive responses from audiences seeking innovative solutions to environmental packaging challenges. My visibility as a company founder and technical expert gradually established Aurora Industries as a thought leader in sustainable packaging development. One particularly memorable conference presentation occurred in Seattle, where several Brennan Solutions clients approached me afterward to discuss potential partnerships with Aurora Industries. Their feedback about service quality and technical support issues at my former company confirmed that Marcus's leadership was creating operational challenges that could benefit our competitive position. Summer brought news that Brennan Solutions was exploring acquisition options as a potential solution to their technical leadership gap and competitive pressures from Aurora Industries and other emerging companies. Dad's discussions with strategic buyers represented an acknowledgement that the family business might need external expertise to maintain its market position, though he remained publicly confident in Marcus's ability to guide the company through temporary challenges. The irony of this situation was not lost on me. Dad's decision to promote Marcus over more qualified candidates had created exactly the competitive threats that acquisition discussions were intended to address. Aurora Industries existed as a direct result of family politics prevailing over business logic, and our success demonstrated the value of the technical expertise that Brennan Solutions had lost through misguided leadership decisions. Elena's evaluation of the acquisition rumors suggested that Brennan Solutions was likely overvalued relative to its current capabilities and growth prospects, particularly given the loss of key personnel and competitive advantages to Aurora Industries and other companies. Her analysis reinforced my belief that Dad's decision would ultimately prove costly to the family business, though vindication provided little satisfaction given the personal relationships that had been damaged. As Aurora Industries approached its first anniversary, the contrast with my situation 12 months earlier was remarkable. The company had grown to 45 employees, established manufacturing partnerships in 3 states, and secured contracts with major clients that had previously been exclusively served by much larger competitors. Our success demonstrated that innovation and customer focus could overcome the traditional advantages of established companies with deeper pockets and longer client relations. The phone call came on a Tuesday morning in October, exactly 1 year after Dad's boardroom announcement that had started this entire journey. Marcus was calling to request a meeting to discuss potential collaboration between Aurora Industries and Brennan Solutions, framing the conversation around mutual benefits and family reconciliation rather than acknowledging the competitive pressure that had motivated his outreach. His tone was markedly different from our last conversation, respectful rather than condescending, suggesting that Aurora Industries' success had earned recognition even from someone who had previously dismissed my technical contributions as subordinate to his leadership skill. The irony was obvious. Marcus now needed my expertise to solve problems that wouldn't have existed if Dad had made different decisions about company leadership. I agreed to meet with Marcus, partly from curiosity about what specific collaboration he had in mind, and partly from genuine interest in whether our family relationships could be repaired despite the professional conflicts that had driven us apart. The meeting was scheduled for the following week in Portland, my first return to the city since relocating Aurora Industries to Austin 9 months earlier. The conversation that would determine whether bridges could be rebuilt or whether competitive dynamics had permanently altered our family relationships was approaching, marking the end of one chapter, and the beginning of whatever would come next in this unexpected story of betrayal and the consequences of choosing merit over loyalty in family business decisions. The Portland skyline looked different from the passenger seat of the rental car as I drove through the familiar streets toward downtown. 11 months in Austin had changed my perspective on the city where I'd built my early career, making it seem smaller and more provincial than I remember. The coffee shops and food trucks that had once represented the cutting edge of urban culture now appeared quaint compared to the dynamic startup ecosystem I'd discovered in Texas. Marcus had suggested meeting at a neutral location rather than Brennan Solutions headquarters, proposing a upscale restaurant in the Pearl District that specialized in locally sourced ingredients and sustainable practices. The venue choice seemed calculated to remind me of our shared environmental values, though I doubted Marcus had considered the irony of discussing business collaboration in a restaurant that probably used Aurora Industries competitors for their packaging needs. I arrived 15 minutes early, a habit developed during my years of client meetings and investor presentations with Aurora Industries. The hostess seated me at a corner table with a view of the Willamette River, where cargo ships moved slowly between the bridges carrying goods that might soon be packaged in materials my company had developed. The symbolism wasn't lost on me as I reviewed my notes about potential collaboration scenarios and the minimum terms that would make any partnership worthwhile. Marcus appeared precisely on time, dressed in the same expensive casual style he'd favored since college, but carrying himself with a confidence that seemed forced rather than natural. His smile was professionally warm as he approached the table, extending his hand for a handshake that felt more like a business greeting than a family reunion. The physical distance he maintained suggested uncertainty about how our relationship had evolved during the months since my departure from the family business. His opening remarks focused on congratulatory comments about Aurora Industries' success, citing industry reports and trade publication articles that had mentioned our rapid growth and innovative product. The praise felt genuine but also strategic, establishing a tone of mutual respect while positioning himself as someone who had been following my achievements with interest and admiration. I acknowledged his comments politely while mentally noting that recognition now came easily compared to the dismissive attitude he'd shown when we last worked together. The conversation gradually shifted toward business topics as we ordered lunch, with Marcus outlining the challenges Brennan Solutions had encountered during the transition to his leadership. His description was carefully worded to avoid direct admission of failure, but the implications were clear: technical problems with existing products, difficulty responding to client customization requests, and competitive pressure from newer companies with more advanced capability. The knowledge gaps created by my departure, along with Patricia's resignation and David's exit, had proven more significant than anyone had anticipated. Marcus's proposed collaboration centered on licensing arrangements that would allow Brennan Solutions to offer Aurora Industries advanced packaging solutions to their established client base, creating revenue opportunities for both companies, while addressing the technical deficiencies that were limiting his company's growth. The proposal was structured as a partnership between equals, though the underlying dynamic was obviously Brennan Solutions seeking access to innovations they couldn't develop independently. I listened carefully to his presentation, taking notes on specific terms and asking clarifying questions about implementation details and revenue sharing arrangements. His preparation was thorough, suggesting he'd invested considerable time in developing a proposal that addressed potential concerns while maximizing benefits for both parties. The professional competence he demonstrated was impressive, even if it came nearly a year too late to prevent the competitive situation that had necessitated this meeting. The licensing proposal included provisions for joint marketing efforts, shared research and development costs, and coordinated responses to large client opportunities that neither company could handle alone. Marcus emphasized the potential for combining Aurora Industries' technical innovations with Brennan Solutions' established relationships and distribution infrastructure, creating synergies that could accelerate growth for both organizations. However, several aspects of his proposal raised immediate concerns about control and decision-making authority. The suggested joint venture structure would require Aurora Industries to share proprietary information about manufacturing processes and product formulations, creating intellectual property vulnerabilities that could undermine our competitive advantage. Additionally, the revenue-sharing arrangements seemed skewed toward Brennan Solutions' benefit, reflecting assumptions about market value that didn't align with current competitive reality. My response was diplomatically non-committal, acknowledging the creativity of his proposal while identifying specific issues that would require modification before any agreement could be considered. The negotiation dynamics were fascinating, as Marcus found himself in the unfamiliar position of needing something from me rather than being able to dictate terms based on family relationships or organizational hierarchy. As lunch progressed, our conversation began addressing the personal dimensions of our professional conflict, though both of us remained cautious about expressing emotions that might complicate business discussion. Marcus acknowledged that Dad's decision to promote him over me had created family tensions that extended beyond the workplace, affecting holiday gatherings and casual interactions in ways that concerned our parents and created awkwardness for everyone involved. His perspective on the original CEO decision was predictably self-serving, emphasizing his qualifications and downplaying the importance of technical expertise in favor of leadership and communication skills. However, he also admitted that the challenges of running a technology-focused company had exceeded his expectations, requiring knowledge and experience that couldn't be acquired quickly through training or consulting arrangements. The admission represented the closest Marcus had come to acknowledging that Dad's decision might have been flawed, though he carefully avoided direct criticism of paternal judgment or explicit recognition that I had been more qualified for the position. The conversation walked a delicate line between business pragmatism and family loyalty, with both of us aware that our words might be repeated to Dad and influence future family relations. My own perspective had evolved considerably during the months of building Aurora Industries from concept to operational success. The initial anger and sense of betrayal had given way to gratitude for circumstances that had forced me to discover capabilities and ambitions I might never have explored within the comfortable confines of the family business. Marcus's promotion had inadvertently liberated me from limitations I hadn't fully recognized while they were constraining my growth. The licensing proposal discussion continued for nearly 2 hours, covering technical details, financial projections, and implementation timelines that would govern any potential collaboration. Marcus's knowledge of Aurora Industries' capabilities was surprisingly detailed, suggesting he'd conducted thorough research into our products, manufacturing processes, and client relationships. The effort demonstrated respect for our achievements while also revealing the extent to which Brennan Solutions viewed us as a competitive threat, requiring strategic response. By the end of lunch, we had established a framework for further discussions while acknowledging that significant modifications to the original proposal would be necessary before any agreement could be finalized. I committed to reviewing his detailed written proposal and providing feedback within 2 weeks, giving both parties time to evaluate whether collaboration made sense given our respective strategic objectives and competitive position. The drive back to my hotel provided time to process the implications of Marcus's proposal and consider whether rebuilding professional relationships with the family business aligned with Aurora Industries' long-term interests. The licensing arrangement could provide accelerated revenue growth and market penetration, but it would also create dependencies and constraints that might limit our flexibility and innovation capability. That evening, I called Elena to discuss the collaboration proposal and seek her perspective on the strategic implications for Aurora Industries. Her initial reaction was skeptical, questioning whether partnership with a competitor facing technical challenges would provide sufficient benefits to justify the risks of sharing proprietary information and coordinating business operations with a less capable organization. Elena's analysis focused on Aurora Industries' strong competitive position and rapid growth trajectory, suggesting that collaboration with Brennan Solutions might actually slow our progress rather than accelerate it. Her venture capital experience had taught her to be wary of partnerships that seemed motivated more by one party's desperation than by genuine strategic synergies that benefited both organizations equally. However, she also recognized the potential value of accessing Brennan Solutions' established client relationships and distribution infrastructure, particularly for expansion into markets where Aurora Industries lacked direct connections. The challenge would be structuring any collaboration to maximize these benefits while minimizing risks to our intellectual property and operational independence. Our conversation continued past midnight, exploring various scenarios and evaluating potential outcomes under different partnership structures. Alina's questions helped clarify my own thinking about what Aurora Industries needed to achieve its growth objectives and whether those needs could be better served through organic expansion or strategic partnerships with more suitable collaborators. The next morning brought a call from Dad, who had obviously been briefed by Marcus about our meeting and wanted to discuss the possibility of family reconciliation through business collaboration. His tone was more conciliatory than I'd heard since my resignation, suggesting that Aurora Industries' success had earned recognition even from someone who had initially dismissed my decision to leave as impulsive and ungrateful. Dad's conversation focused primarily on family harmony and the importance of maintaining relationships despite professional disagreements, themes that resonated emotionally while avoiding direct acknowledgement that his original CEO decision might have been problematic. He emphasized his pride in Aurora Industries' achievements while expressing hope that business success could create opportunities for rebuilding personal connections that had been strained by workplace conflicts. The discussion gradually shifted toward the practical implications of any collaboration between Aurora Industries and Brennan Solutions, with Dad offering insights about client relationships and market dynamics that reflected his decades of experience in the packaging industry. His knowledge remained valuable despite his gradual withdrawal from day-to-day operations, and his perspective on potential partnership benefits was more objective than Marcus's obviously self-interested analysis. However, Dad's comments also revealed ongoing misconceptions about Aurora Industries' competitive position and bargaining power in any potential collaboration. His assumptions seemed based on outdated information about our capabilities and market presence, suggesting that Brennan Solutions' leadership team had not fully grasped how significantly the competitive landscape had shifted since my departure from the family business. I spent the following week in Portland meeting with former colleagues and industry contacts who could provide insights about market conditions and competitive dynamics in the Pacific Northwest packaging sector. These conversations painted a consistent picture of Brennan Solutions struggling to maintain technical leadership while facing increasing pressure from innovative competitors like Aurora Industries and several other emerging companies. The feedback from these informal interviews reinforced my assessment that any collaboration would need to be structured heavily in Aurora Industries' favor to reflect the actual balance of capabilities and market position between the two companies. Marcus's original proposal had failed to account for these realities, treating the negotiation as if both parties were equal partners rather than recognizing Aurora Industries' superior technical capabilities and growth trajectory. During my Portland visit, I also took the opportunity to tour Aurora Industries' original laboratory space and meet with some of the employees who had remained at Brennan Solutions after my departure. Their perspectives on the company's current challenges were diplomatically expressed but clearly indicated that technical leadership problems were affecting product quality, client satisfaction, and employee morale in ways that went beyond the specific issues Marcus had mentioned. The most revealing conversation occurred with Janet Morrison, the quality control manager who had worked closely with me on developing testing protocols for biodegradable packaging material. Her description of recent production problems and client complaints suggested that Brennan Solutions was struggling to maintain the technical standards that had established their market reputation, creating opportunities for competitors to capture market share through superior product performance. Janet's insights helped me understand why Marcus was so eager to establish a licensing arrangement with Aurora Industries, as access to our advanced formulations and manufacturing processes could address quality control issues that were threatening Brennan Solutions' relationships with key clients. The urgency behind his collaboration proposal reflected business necessity rather than genuine interest in partnership, though he had been careful not to reveal the full extent of their technical difficulties during our lunch meeting. By the end of my Portland visit, I had gathered sufficient information to evaluate Marcus's proposal objectively and develop a counter-proposal that reflected Aurora Industries' actual market position and bargaining power. The terms would need to be significantly more favorable to our interests than his original suggestion, acknowledging the reality that Brennan Solutions needed our technology more than we needed their client relation. The flight back to Austin provided time to organize my thoughts and prepare for discussions with Aurora Industries' management team about the potential collaboration. David's perspective would be particularly valuable given his intimate knowledge of both companies' capabilities and his understanding of the technical challenges that would need to be addressed in any partnership arrangement. David's initial reaction to Marcus's proposal was more negative than I had expected, reflecting concerns about intellectual property protection and operational independence that went beyond the specific terms of the licensing arrangement. His experience at Brennan Solutions had made him skeptical about their ability to implement advanced technologies effectively, and he questioned whether collaboration would ultimately benefit Aurora Industries or simply provide Brennan Solutions with access to innovations they couldn't develop independently. Our Austin management team spent several days analyzing the proposal and developing alternative structures that could provide benefits while minimizing risks to Aurora Industries' competitive position. The consensus emerged that any collaboration should be limited in scope and duration, allowing us to evaluate the partnership's effectiveness while maintaining flexibility to pursue other strategic options if the arrangement proved unsatisfactory. The counter-proposal we developed was substantially different from Marcus's original suggestion, emphasizing Aurora Industries' control over intellectual property and implementation standards while providing Brennan Solutions with access to specific products under carefully defined conditions. The revenue-sharing arrangements were restructured to reflect our superior bargaining position, and the collaboration was limited to a 2-year pilot program rather than the open-ended partnership Marcus had proposed. I scheduled a conference call with Marcus to present our counter-proposal and gauge his reaction to the significantly modified term. His initial response was disappointment at how far our suggestions departed from his original vision, but his willingness to continue discussions indicated that Brennan Solutions' need for technical assistance was greater than he had initially acknowledged. The negotiation process extended over several weeks with multiple rounds of proposals and counter-proposals as both sides worked toward an agreement that addressed their respective priorities. Marcus proved to be a more capable negotiator than I had expected, finding creative solutions to some of the more contentious issues while maintaining focus on Brennan Solutions' core objective. However, the fundamental imbalance in bargaining power became increasingly apparent as discussions progressed, with Aurora Industries able to dictate most terms while Brennan Solutions made concessions in order to access the technical capabilities they desperately needed. The dynamic was a stark reversal from the family business hierarchy that had previously governed our professional relations. Elena's involvement in the later stages of negotiation proved invaluable, as her experience with complex partnership agreements helped identify potential problems and ensure that Aurora Industries' interests were adequately protected. Her suggestions for performance metrics and termination clauses created safeguards that would allow us to exit the collaboration if it failed to meet expectations or began constraining our growth. The final agreement was signed in November, nearly 2 months after my initial meeting with Marcus in Portland. The licensing arrangement provided Brennan Solutions with access to 3 of Aurora Industries' advanced packaging formulations, along with limited manufacturing and implementation support, in exchange for revenue sharing and joint marketing efforts in specific geographic markets. The partnership launch was scheduled for January, allowing both companies time to prepare their operations and train personnel for the collaboration. The implementation timeline was aggressive but achievable, assuming both parties fulfilled their commitments and addressed the technical challenges that inevitably arose when transferring complex manufacturing processes between organizations. My role in the collaboration was carefully defined to provide technical oversight while maintaining Aurora Industries' operational independence and protecting our proprietary information. The arrangement required me to spend approximately 1 week per month in Portland, working with Brennan Solutions' technical team to ensure proper implementation of our manufacturing processes and quality control standards. The first implementation visit in January provided insights into how significantly Brennan Solutions had changed during my absence, with new employees filling positions previously held by people I had worked with for years. The institutional knowledge gaps were more extensive than I had anticipated, requiring additional training and support to bring their technical capabilities up to the standards necessary for successfully implementing Aurora Industries' advanced formulation. Marcus's management style had evolved considerably since receiving the CEO position, showing more attention to operational details and technical requirements than he had demonstrated during his earlier career. The challenges of running a technology-focused company had forced him to develop competencies that complemented his natural sales and communication skills, though significant knowledge gaps remained in areas requiring deep technical expertise. The collaboration's early results exceeded expectations, with Brennan Solutions clients responding enthusiastically to the improved packaging solutions and Aurora Industries benefiting from access to established distribution channels in markets where we had limited presence. The revenue impact was positive for both companies, validating the strategic logic behind the partnership despite the complex negotiations required to reach agreement. However, operational challenges emerged as implementation progressed, particularly regarding quality control standards and manufacturing consistency. Brennan Solutions' production facilities required upgrades to handle Aurora Industries' advanced formulations properly, creating unexpected costs and delays that tested both parties' commitment to making the collaboration successful. The most significant dispute arose over intellectual property rights when Brennan Solutions' technical team began developing modifications to Aurora Industries' formulations without proper authorization or consultation. The incident required immediate intervention to clarify boundaries and reinforce the contractual protections that governed the use of our proprietary technology. Resolution of this conflict strengthened the partnership by establishing clear protocols for technical modifications and ensuring that both parties understood their respective rights and responsibilities. The experience also demonstrated that collaboration between competitors required constant vigilance to prevent misunderstandings that could damage business relationships and competitive positions. By spring, the collaboration had generated sufficient revenue and market penetration to justify continuation beyond the initial pilot program, though both parties agreed that modifications to the original agreement would be necessary to address operational issues that had emerged during implementation. The partnership was providing benefits for both companies while maintaining Aurora Industries' competitive advantages and growth trajectory. The success of the collaboration began creating opportunities for expanded cooperation in other areas, including joint research and development projects that could benefit from combining Aurora Industries' technical capabilities with Brennan Solutions' market knowledge and client relations. These discussions represented a significant evolution from the original licensing arrangement toward a more strategic partnership that could provide long-term benefits for both organizations. However, the expanded collaboration also created new challenges regarding decision-making authority and resource allocation, as both companies needed to balance partnership commitments with independent strategic objectives. The complexity of managing these competing priorities required ongoing communication and flexibility from leadership teams that had different organizational cultures and operational approaches. Elena's guidance during this expansion phase proved crucial for maintaining Aurora Industries' focus on growth while avoiding commitments that could constrain our future options or create excessive dependence on Brennan Solutions. Her experience with partnership evolution helped identify potential problems before they became serious issues that might threaten our competitive position or operational independence. As summer approached, industry observers began noting the successful collaboration between Aurora Industries and Brennan Solutions as an example of how established companies could partner with innovative startups to address technical challenges and accelerate growth. The positive publicity benefited both parties while reinforcing Aurora Industries' reputation as a technology leader in sustainable packaging solutions. The partnership's success also began influencing family relationships, as professional collaboration created opportunities for rebuilding personal connections that had been damaged by the original succession dispute. Dad's perspective on my decision to leave Brennan Solutions evolved as he observed the benefits that collaboration was providing for both companies and recognized that my departure had ultimately created value rather than destroying it. Marcus's attitude toward me had changed significantly as well, showing genuine respect for Aurora Industries' achievements and acknowledgement that technical expertise was more important to business success than he had previously understood. The working relationship we developed through the collaboration was more professional and productive than our interactions had ever been within the family business structure. These improvements in family dynamics were gradual and careful, as all parties remained aware that business interests needed to be protected even as personal relationships were rebuilt. The collaboration provided a framework for interaction that focused on mutual benefits rather than the hierarchical dynamics that had created problems within the traditional family business structure. However, challenges remained regarding long-term family business succession and the role that Aurora Industries might play in Brennan Solutions' future strategic direction. Dad's advancing age and gradual withdrawal from active management created questions about leadership transition that went beyond the immediate scope of our current collaboration but could significantly influence future business relations. The industry conference season provided opportunities to present the collaboration publicly and demonstrate how partnerships between established companies and innovative startups could create competitive advantages for both parties. Our joint presentations received positive responses from audiences seeking insights about strategic partnerships and technology transfer in rapidly evolving markets. These public appearances also reinforced Aurora Industries' position as a thought leader in sustainable packaging technology while providing Brennan Solutions with access to technical credibility that enhanced their market reputation. The mutual benefits were clearly visible to industry observers, validating the strategic logic behind our collaboration while creating opportunities for additional partnerships with other companies. As the first full year of collaboration approached its conclusion, both companies were evaluating lessons learned and planning for the future evolution of their partnership. The success had exceeded initial expectations while revealing opportunities for expanded cooperation that could provide additional benefits for both organizations and their respective stakeholders. The transformation of my relationship with Marcus and the family business had been as significant as Aurora Industries' business achievements, demonstrating that professional conflicts could sometimes create opportunities for growth that benefited everyone involved. The journey from family business subordination to competitive collaboration had required difficult decisions and considerable risk, but the outcomes had validated the importance of choosing merit over comfort in professional advance. Looking ahead, the partnership between Aurora Industries and Brennan Solutions seemed positioned for continued success, though both companies remained committed to maintaining their independence and pursuing their distinct strategic objectives. The collaboration had proven that former competitors could work together effectively when the arrangement provided genuine benefits and respected each party's core interests and competitive advantages. The second year of collaboration brought unexpected challenges that tested both companies' commitment to the partnership while revealing new opportunities for expansion. Aurora Industries had grown to nearly 100 employees across our Austin headquarters and 3 satellite facilities, each specializing in different aspects of sustainable packaging development and manufacture. The rapid scaling required sophisticated management systems and operational protocols that David and I had developed through trial and error during the company's early growth phases. Elena's venture capital firm had provided additional funding rounds totaling $8 million, enabling Aurora Industries to establish advanced research capabilities that positioned us as the industry leader in biodegradable packaging innovation. Our laboratory complex now included pilot manufacturing lines, environmental testing chambers, and analytical equipment that rivaled the capabilities of much larger competitors. The investment had also attracted top-tier talent from established companies, including several engineers and scientists who brought decades of experience in materials development and manufacturing optimization. The success of our partnership with Brennan Solutions had generated interest from other potential collaborators, including major food service chains seeking exclusive access to next-generation packaging solutions and manufacturing companies wanting to license our technologies for their own product line. Managing these opportunities required careful strategic analysis to ensure that new partnerships enhanced rather than competed with our existing commitments while maintaining Aurora Industries' competitive advantages and growth trajectory. Marcus had proven surprisingly effective at leveraging the Brennan Solutions collaboration to rebuild his company's market position, using access to Aurora Industries' advanced formulations to win back clients who had defected to competitors during the difficult transition period following my departure. His communication skills, which I had previously dismissed as superficial, proved valuable for explaining complex technical benefits to clients who needed to understand how sustainable packaging solutions could address their operational challenges and regulatory compliance requirements. The evolution of our working relationship had been gradual but significant, moving from cautious cooperation toward genuine professional respect based on demonstrated competence and shared commitment to making the partnership successful. Marcus's acknowledgement of his technical limitations had led him to focus on areas where his skills were most valuable, creating a division of responsibilities that maximized both parties' contributions while minimizing conflicts over decision-making authority. However, the partnership also revealed ongoing tensions within Brennan Solutions regarding long-term strategic direction and leadership succession. Dad's influence remained strong despite his gradual withdrawal from daily operations, and his perspectives on industry trends and competitive dynamics sometimes conflicted with Marcus's more aggressive growth strategy. These internal disagreements occasionally affected collaboration decisions in ways that created uncertainty about Brennan Solutions' reliability as a long-term partner. The most significant challenge emerged during summer negotiations for expanding the partnership into international markets, where regulatory requirements and competitive dynamics differed substantially from domestic conditions. Aurora Industries had been approached by European distributors interested in licensing our technologies for regional manufacturing, creating opportunities for global expansion that could accelerate growth while diversifying revenue sources across multiple geographic markets. Brennan Solutions wanted to participate in this international expansion through their existing relationships with Pacific Rim manufacturers and distributors, proposing a three-way partnership structure that would combine Aurora Industries' technology, Brennan Solutions' regional connection, and local partners' manufacturing capabilities. The proposal was strategically sound but required complex negotiations to balance competing interests and ensure that intellectual property protections remained adequate across multiple jurisdictions. Elena's analysis of the international expansion opportunity was cautiously optimistic, recognizing the potential for significant revenue growth while identifying risks associated with technology transfer to foreign partners and enforcement challenges in jurisdictions with different legal frameworks. Her recommendation was to proceed with pilot projects in select markets while maintaining strict controls over proprietary information and manufacturing process. The negotiations for international expansion lasted 6 months, involving legal teams from multiple countries and requiring extensive due diligence on potential partners and market conditions. The complexity exceeded anything Aurora Industries had previously undertaken, demonstrating how successful companies must develop capabilities beyond their core technical competencies to capitalize on growth opportunities in global markets. During this expansion planning, I received an unexpected call from Patricia Sullivan, who had been working as an independent consultant since leaving Brennan Solutions 2 years earlier. Her experience with international business development and regulatory compliance made her an ideal candidate to lead Aurora Industries' global expansion efforts, bringing institutional knowledge and established relationships that could accelerate our entry into foreign markets. Patricia's decision to join Aurora Industries as Vice President of International Operations represented another acquisition of talent from Brennan Solutions' former leadership team, though her departure from the family business had been voluntary rather than the result of succession disputes. Her addition to our management team provided expertise in areas where we had limited experience while strengthening Aurora Industries' capabilities for managing complex international partnerships. The international partnership agreements were finalized in December, establishing Aurora Industries' presence in 6 countries through licensing arrangements with local manufacturers and distributors. The agreements included technology transfer provisions, quality control requirements, and revenue-sharing arrangements that protected our intellectual property while providing substantial growth opportunities in markets with high demand for sustainable packaging solutions. The success of these international partnerships validated Aurora Industries' technology and business model while demonstrating that sustainable packaging innovations could compete effectively with traditional materials across diverse economic and regulatory environments. The global expansion also positioned us as a truly international company rather than a regional player, enhancing our credibility with major clients and potential partners. As Aurora Industries' third year began, the company had evolved from a startup founded by refugee talent from Brennan Solutions into a global technology leader with operations spanning 3 continents and revenues approaching $25 million annually.
However, new tensions were emerging within Brennan Solutions as Dad's health began declining, and succession planning became more urgent. Marcus's position as CEO was secure, but questions remained about ownership transition and the role that external partners might play in the company's future strategic direction. These discussions inevitably involved consideration of Aurora Industries' relationship with the family business and whether closer integration might be beneficial for both organizations. The possibility of acquiring Brennan Solutions had been discussed informally during strategic planning sessions at Aurora Industries, though Elena's analysis suggested that the family business's market value had declined significantly since my departure due to competitive pressure and operational challenges. An acquisition could provide Aurora Industries with expanded manufacturing capacity and established client relationships,
but it would also require integrating organizations with different cultures and operational approaches. Marcus approached me about acquisition possibilities during a partnership review meeting in Portland, framing the discussion around potential synergies and Dad's interest in ensuring the family business's long-term survival under competent leadership. His presentation was careful to avoid suggesting that Brennan Solutions was in financial distress, but the underlying message was clear. The family business needed a strategic solution that could address succession planning while maintaining operational viability. The acquisition discussion was preliminary and required extensive analysis of Brennan Solutions' financial condition, market position, and strategic value to Aurora Industries' growth objective. Elena's team conducted preliminary due diligence that revealed significant operational inefficiencies and competitive vulnerabilities that would need to be addressed through post-acquisition integration efforts. Dad's perspective on potential acquisition was complex, reflecting pride in the company he had built over 4 decades while acknowledging that family ownership might not provide the best foundation for future success. His conversations with me about the possibility were emotional and difficult, touching on themes of legacy, family loyalty, and professional competence that had shaped our relationship since the original succession dispute. The most challenging aspect of considering Brennan Solutions' acquisition was evaluating how the transaction might affect family relationships that had been gradually rebuilding through our successful partnership. Acquisition would fundamentally alter the dynamic between Aurora Industries and the family business, potentially creating new tensions while providing opportunities for closer collaboration under unified leadership. Throughout the spring, Aurora Industries' management team analyzed various scenarios for potential acquisition of Brennan Solutions, evaluating financial implications, operational challenges, and strategic benefits under different transaction structures. The analysis confirmed that acquisition could provide value if executed properly, but it would require careful integration planning to realize potential synergies while avoiding disruption to either company's operation. Marcus's role in any acquisition would need careful consideration, as his skills and knowledge of Brennan Solutions operations could be valuable while his technical limitations might constrain his effectiveness in a combined organization focused heavily on innovation and technology development. The challenge would be structuring roles and responsibilities that utilized his strengths while ensuring that technical leadership remained aligned with Aurora Industries' capabilities. During summer discussions about potential acquisition, Dad's health concerns became more serious, requiring medical treatment that limited his involvement in business operations and accelerated the urgency of succession planning. The situation created pressure for resolving ownership transition issues while he remained capable of participating in major decisions affecting the company's future. Elena's analysis of the acquisition opportunity evolved to incorporate Dad's health situation and its implications for timing and negotiation dynamic. Her recommendation was to proceed with formal due diligence while maintaining flexibility about transaction structure and timeline, recognizing that family circumstances might influence decision-making in ways that didn't align with purely financial considerations. The formal acquisition discussions began in August, involving legal and financial advisors from both sides along with extensive analysis of operational integration challenges and potential synergies. The process revealed that Brennan Solutions' value had indeed declined significantly since my departure, though the company retained valuable assets including client relationships, manufacturing facilities, and regional market presence that could benefit Aurora Industries' expansion strategy. Marcus's participation in acquisition negotiations was professional and constructive, demonstrating understanding that the transaction could provide benefits for all parties while acknowledging that his role in a combined organization would necessarily be subordinate to Aurora Industries' leadership structure. His evolution from the overconfident executive who had assumed the CEO position 3 years earlier was remarkable, reflecting lessons learned through managing a technology company during challenging competitive conditions. The negotiation process extended through fall, complicated by family dynamics and emotional considerations that went beyond typical business transactions. Dad's involvement was limited by health concerns, but his perspective on protecting employee interests and maintaining the company's environmental mission influenced discussions about integration planning and post-acquisition operational structure. Aurora Industries' acquisition of Brennan Solutions was completed in November for a purchase price of $12 million, significantly below the company's value at the time of my departure, but reflecting its weakened competitive position and operational challenges. The transaction structure included performance incentives for key employees and retention agreements designed to maintain operational continuity during the integration process. The acquisition created a combined organization with annual revenues exceeding $40 million, manufacturing facilities in 4 states, and international operations spanning 8 countries. The integration challenges were substantial, requiring alignment of operational systems, corporate cultures and strategic objectives that had evolved independently over several years of separate development. My role as CEO of the combined organization represented a complete reversal of the family business hierarchy that had existed when Dad promoted Marcus over me 3 years earlier. The irony was not lost on anyone involved, though the focus remained on creating value for all stakeholders rather than settling old scores or proving points about past decisions. Marcus's position in the integrated organization was structured as President of North American Operations, utilizing his knowledge of regional markets and client relationships while ensuring that technology development and strategic planning remained under centralized leadership. The arrangement provided him with meaningful responsibilities while acknowledging Aurora Industries' dominant role in the combined entity. Dad's reaction to the acquisition was mixed, combining satisfaction that the family business would continue under competent leadership with regret that external ownership had become necessary to ensure its survival. Our conversations about the transaction were emotional and cathartic, providing opportunities to address issues that had remained unresolved since my departure from Brennan Solutions 3 years earlier. The integration process required 6 months of intensive effort to align operational systems, eliminate redundancies, and optimize manufacturing efficiency across the combined organization's expanded footprint. The challenges were significant but manageable, supported by experienced teams from both companies and external consultants who specialized in merger integration. Patricia's leadership of the integration effort was exemplary, drawing on her knowledge of both organizations' operations and her experience with complex business transformation. Her ability to navigate cultural differences and operational challenges while maintaining focus on strategic objectives was crucial for achieving integration targets and realizing projected synergy. By the end of Aurora Industries' 4th year, the acquisition and integration of Brennan Solutions had been completed successfully, creating a unified organization with market-leading capabilities in sustainable packaging technology and manufacturing. The combined company's financial performance exceeded projections, validating the strategic logic behind the transaction while demonstrating that family business succession challenges could sometimes create opportunities for innovation and growth. The transformation of family relationships had been as significant as the business achievements, with professional collaboration replacing the hierarchical dynamics that had characterized our interactions within the original family business structure. Dad's pride in Aurora Industries' success was evident, though he remained somewhat wistful about the circumstances that had led to external ownership of the company he had founded. Marcus's evolution from resentful sibling to collaborative business partner represented perhaps the most dramatic change in our family dynamics, demonstrating that professional conflicts could sometimes create opportunities for developing mutual respect and more productive working relationships. His acknowledgement of technical expertise as crucial for business success in technology-focused industries had required abandoning assumptions about leadership that had shaped his career expectations. The success of Aurora Industries had also influenced our mother Helen's perspective on family business dynamics and career development, leading her to become an advocate for merit-based succession planning rather than traditional gender or birth order preference. Her support for my professional achievements had grown stronger as the results became undeniable, creating family unity around shared values of competence and fairness. Looking toward the future, Aurora Industries was positioned for continued expansion into adjacent markets and international regions where demand for sustainable packaging solutions continued growing. The company's technology platform provided competitive advantages that could support diversification into related applications while maintaining leadership in core markets where our innovations had established dominant positions. Elena's venture capital firm was exploring opportunities for additional growth capital that could accelerate Aurora Industries' expansion into new markets and applications, potentially including public equity offerings that would provide liquidity for early investors while funding next-phase growth initiatives. The discussions reflected confidence in the company's strategic position and management capabilities, while recognizing opportunities for capturing larger market share in rapidly growing segments. The industry recognition that Aurora Industries had achieved through technology innovation and business success had established my reputation as a thought leader in sustainable packaging development, leading to speaking opportunities at major conferences and advisory roles with industry organizations. The visibility enhanced Aurora Industries' market position while providing platforms for advocating policy changes that could accelerate adoption of environmentally responsible packaging solutions. The journey from family business exile to industry leadership had required courage, persistence, and willingness to risk comfortable positions for the possibility of achieving something more meaningful and substantial. The success had validated decisions that had seemed risky and potentially destructive at the time, demonstrating that sometimes the most important career moves require abandoning security for the uncertainty of creating something new and better. As Aurora Industries entered its 5th year, the company had become everything I had envisioned when first contemplating departure from Brennan Solutions. a technology-driven organization that created value through innovation while maintaining commitment to environmental responsibility and employee development. The achievement represented vindication not just of technical capabilities, but of leadership approaches that prioritized competence over politics and merit over favoritism in organizational decision-making. The relationship with Dad had evolved into mutual respect based on demonstrated accomplishments rather than family obligations, creating a foundation for rebuilding personal connections that had been damaged by professional conflict. His acknowledgement that Aurora Industries' success had exceeded what Brennan Solutions might have achieved under traditional family ownership represented closure on issues that had created tension for years following my departure from the family business. The upcoming industry conference season would provide opportunities to present Aurora Industries' latest innovations and discuss strategic partnerships that could further accelerate growth in domestic and international markets. The company's reputation for technical excellence and business integrity had created demand for collaboration from organizations seeking to enhance their environmental credentials through association with proven sustainable technology leaders. The call came on a Thursday morning in March, interrupting my review of quarterly financial reports that showed Aurora Industries continuing to exceed growth projections across all business segments. David's voice carried an unusual tension as he informed me that representatives from Meridian Capital, one of the largest private equity firms specializing in environmental technology investments, had requested an urgent meeting to discuss a potential acquisition offer for Aurora Industries. The timing was unexpected, occurring just 4 months after we had completed the integration of Brennan Solutions and were beginning to realize the operational synergies that had justified the acquisition. Our combined revenues had reached $52 million annually, with profit margins improving steadily as manufacturing efficiencies and product innovations created competitive advantages that were difficult for competitors to replicate. Elena's immediate reaction to Meridian Capital's interest was measured skepticism, questioning why a major private equity firm would approach Aurora Industries at this particular moment, and wondering whether their timing reflected knowledge of strategic developments that might not be publicly available. Her experience with institutional investors had taught her to be wary of unsolicited acquisition approaches, particularly from firms with reputations for aggressive growth strategies that sometimes conflicted with founder values and long-term sustainability objectives. The Meridian Capital representatives arrived in Austin the following week, led by Jennifer Walsh, a managing director with extensive experience in environmental technology acquisitions and a track record of successful portfolio company development. Her team included technical analysts, financial specialists and operations consultants who had conducted preliminary research into Aurora Industries' competitive position and growth potential. Jennifer's presentation was sophisticated and compelling, outlining Meridian Capital's vision for accelerating Aurora Industries' expansion through substantial capital infusion, strategic acquisitions and operational improvements that could triple our revenue within 3 years. The proposed transaction valued Aurora Industries at $120 million, representing a significant premium over current market comparables and reflecting their confidence in our technology platform and management capability. The acquisition structure they proposed would provide immediate liquidity for existing shareholders, while maintaining Aurora Industries' operational independence under my continued leadership. As Meridian Capital's approach emphasized partnership rather than control, positioning their involvement as providing resources and expertise that could accelerate growth rather than imposing external management or strategic direction. However, several aspects of their proposal raised concerns about how private equity ownership might affect Aurora Industries' culture and strategic priority. The aggressive growth targets they outlined would require significant changes to our operational approach, including rapid scaling of manufacturing capacity, accelerated product development timelines, and expansion into market segments where we had limited experience. Elena's analysis of Meridian Capital's proposal identified potential conflicts between their investment timeline and Aurora Industries' sustainable growth strategy, noting that private equity firms typically sought to maximize returns within 5 to 7 years through strategies that might not align with long-term technology development and market positioning objectives. Her recommendation was to engage in discussions while maintaining realistic expectations about compatibility between their requirements and our strategic vision. The due diligence process extended over 6 weeks, involving extensive analysis of Aurora Industries' financial performance, technology portfolio, competitive position, and growth prospects. Meridian Capital's team demonstrated impressive thoroughness and technical competence, asking sophisticated questions about manufacturing processes, intellectual property protection, and international market development strategy. During this evaluation period, I also received inquiries from two other potential acquirers, including a Fortune 500 chemical company seeking to diversify into sustainable packaging and a European consortium of environmental technology investors interested in establishing North American operations. The multiple approaches suggested that Aurora Industries had achieved industry recognition that made us an attractive acquisition target for various types of strategic and financial buyers. The complexity of evaluating these competing offers required careful analysis of financial terms, strategic fit, and cultural compatibility factors that would influence Aurora Industries' future development under different ownership structures. Each potential acquirer offered distinct advantages and disadvantages, making the decision process challenging and requiring extensive consultation with advisors and key employees whose perspectives would be affected by any ownership change. Marcus's reaction to the acquisition discussions was complicated, reflecting both excitement about potential financial returns and concern about how ownership changes might affect his role in the integrated organization. His experience during Brennan Solutions' decline had made him appreciate the importance of stable leadership and adequate capital for competitive success, but he also worried about losing the collaborative working relationship we had developed since the acquisition. Patricia's perspective on the acquisition opportunities was pragmatically optimistic, recognizing that Aurora Industries had achieved where external capital and resources could provide significant acceleration opportunities, while noting that our current growth trajectory was sustainable and profitable without requiring immediate ownership change. Her analysis emphasized the importance of maintaining operational control and strategic flexibility regardless of ownership structure. The decision-making process was further complicated by Dad's declining health situation, which had progressed to the point where his involvement in family business discussions was limited but still emotionally significant. His perspective on Aurora Industries' potential sale reflected pride in what we had accomplished while expressing concern about preserving the environmental mission and employee welfare values that had motivated his original company founding. Throughout the evaluation period, Aurora Industries' operational performance remained strong, with new client acquisitions and international expansion continuing to drive revenue growth and market share gain. The consistency of our results during this potentially distracting period demonstrated the organizational strength and management depth that made us attractive to sophisticated acquirers seeking established platforms for further development. Elena's guidance during the acquisition evaluation process proved invaluable, helping me understand the implications of different transaction structures and ownership arrangements, while maintaining focus on Aurora Industries' strategic objectives and cultural value. Her experience with private equity transactions provided insights into negotiation strategies and deal terms that could protect founder interests while providing acquirers with adequate returns on their investment. The final decision came down to choosing between Meridian Capital's financial buyer approach and the chemical company's strategic acquisition proposal, each offering different advantages for Aurora Industries' future development. The financial buyer option provided greater operational independence and management continuity, while the strategic acquisition offered access to complementary technologies and distribution channels that could accelerate growth in specific market segments. After extensive deliberation and consultation with key stakeholders, I decided to proceed with Meridian Capital's acquisition offer, valuing their commitment to maintaining Aurora Industries' operational independence while providing capital and resources for accelerated expansion. The transaction was structured to retain significant equity participation for existing management, aligning interests while providing liquidity for early investors and employees.
The alignment between investor timeline and operational strategy created stability that supported long-term planning and strategic investment. The industry conference circuit had become an important platform for demonstrating Aurora Industries' thought leadership and technical capabilities to potential clients and partners worldwide. My presentations on sustainable packaging innovations consistently attracted large audiences and generated substantial media coverage, reinforcing our reputation as the primary driver of industry transformation toward environmentally responsible solutions. These speaking engagements also provided opportunities for recruiting exceptional talent from competitors and research institutions, as Aurora Industries' reputation for innovation and growth attracted professionals seeking challenging and meaningful career opportunities. The competitive advantage we gained through superior human capital became increasingly important as the sustainable packaging market attracted new entrants with substantial financial resources. The third year under Meridian Capital ownership brought Aurora Industries revenues to over $100 million annually, achieving the milestone that had seemed almost impossibly ambitious when I first developed business plans 5 years earlier. The growth trajectory remained sustainable and profitable, supported by proprietary technologies,
established client relationships, and operational capabilities that continued expanding through strategic investments and partnership. Marcus's contributions to this success had been significant, particularly his leadership of operational efficiency initiatives that reduced manufacturing costs while improving product quality and delivery reliability. His evolution from the technically limited executive who had assumed leadership of Brennan Solutions to a capable operations leader demonstrated how professional challenges could drive personal growth and skill development. The recognition that Aurora Industries had achieved within the environmental technology sector extended beyond business success to influence policy discussions about packaging waste regulations and sustainability standards. My testimony before congressional committees and participation in regulatory advisory panels provided platforms for advocating policies that could accelerate adoption of environmentally responsible packaging solutions across multiple industries. This policy influence also created strategic advantages for Aurora Industries by helping shape regulatory frameworks in ways that favored our technological approaches while creating market demand that supported continued growth and investment. The alignment between public policy objectives and private sector capabilities demonstrated how successful companies could contribute to addressing societal challenges while achieving financial success. The family relationships that had been so damaged by Dad's original succession decision had evolved into genuinely positive and supportive connections based on mutual respect and shared pride in what had been accomplished. The transformation from family business conflict to collaborative success represented personal healing that complemented the professional achievements Aurora Industries had delivered. Dad's acknowledgement that his original decision to promote Marcus over me had been a mistake came during a quiet conversation at the family's holiday gathering, representing closure on issues that had created tension for years. His admission was accompanied by expressions of pride in Aurora Industries' success and gratitude that challenging circumstances had ultimately created opportunities for achievement that exceeded what might have been possible within traditional family business structure. The upcoming fourth year under Meridian Capital ownership was projected to bring Aurora Industries revenues to approximately $130 million, supported by continued international expansion, new product introduction, and strategic partnerships that enhanced our competitive positioning. The growth trajectory showed no signs of slowing, indicating that the sustainable packaging market remained in early stages of a transformation that could continue for many years. Elena's analysis of industry trends and competitive dynamics suggested that Aurora Industries was well positioned to maintain technology leadership and market share growth as demand for environmentally responsible packaging solutions accelerated across multiple industry segments. Her confidence in our strategic position and management capabilities supported continued investment in expansion initiatives that could drive further growth and profitability. Looking toward potential exit strategies for Meridian Capital's investment, preliminary discussions had identified several possible scenarios, including strategic acquisition by multinational corporations, merger with complementary environmental technology companies, or public equity offerings that could provide liquidity while supporting continued growth. The multiple options reflected Aurora Industries' strong market position and attractive growth prospects. The possibility of an initial public offering had particular appeal as a mechanism for maintaining operational independence, while providing capital for continued expansion and liquidity for shareholders who had supported Aurora Industries through its development stages. The public markets had shown strong appetite for environmental technology companies with proven business models and sustainable competitive advantages. As Aurora Industries entered its sixth year since founding, the company had become everything I had envisioned when first contemplating departure from Brennan Solutions, a technology-driven organization that created value through innovation while maintaining commitment to environmental responsibility and employee development. The journey from family business exile to industry leadership had required courage, persistence, and willingness to risk comfortable positions for the possibility of achieving something more meaningful and substantial. The vindication of decisions that had seemed risky and potentially destructive at the time demonstrated that sometimes the most important career moves require abandoning security for the uncertainty of creating something new and better. The success had validated not just technical capabilities, but leadership approaches that prioritized competence over politics and merit over favoritism in organizational decision-making. The invitation arrived on elegant letterhead from the Pacific Northwest Environmental Technology Summit, requesting my participation as the keynote speaker for their annual conference celebrating innovation and leadership in sustainable business practices. The irony was delicious. The conference would be held in Portland, just blocks from the Brennan Solutions headquarters, where my career had seemingly ended 6 years earlier when Dad chose Marcus over Mary. The speaking request came with a note from the conference organizer mentioning that this year's theme focused on transforming setbacks into success stories, and that Aurora Industries represented the perfect example of how visionary leadership could create industry-changing innovation. They wanted me to share insights about building a company from scratch and competing against established players in traditional markets. Elena's reaction to the invitation was immediate enthusiasm, recognizing the symbolic power of returning to Portland as a celebrated industry leader rather than the dismissed daughter who had walked away from the family business. She saw the speaking engagement as an opportunity to showcase Aurora Industries' achievements while reinforcing my personal brand as a thought leader who had transformed adversity into extraordinary success. The conference program revealed that several former Brennan Solutions clients would be presenting case studies about their sustainability initiatives, many of which now relied heavily on Aurora Industries' packaging technology. The presentations would effectively demonstrate how my departure from the family business had created competitive alternatives that served the market better than the original company ever could have. Marcus called 2 weeks before the conference, his voice carrying a mixture of nervousness and genuine respect that had replaced the condescending tone I remembered from our early partnership discussion. He had heard about my keynote speaking role and wanted to coordinate our appearances to avoid any awkwardness that might distract from the professional focus of the event. His concern was thoughtful and mature, reflecting the collaborative relationship we had developed through years of working together in various capacities. The Marcus who called was fundamentally different from the overconfident executive who had assumed leadership of Brennan Solutions based on charm rather than competence. Professional challenges and business realities had forced him to develop capabilities that complemented his natural strengths while acknowledging areas where others possessed superior expertise. The conversation revealed that Dad planned to attend the conference despite his ongoing health challenges, motivated by pride in what Aurora Industries had accomplished and curiosity about how the industry would receive my presentation. His decision to make the trip represented a significant effort given his limited mobility, suggesting that this event held special meaning for him beyond typical business networking opportunities. Preparing the keynote presentation required careful consideration of how to tell Aurora Industries' story in ways that inspired the audience while maintaining appropriate discretion about family business dynamics and personal conflicts that had motivated my entrepreneurial journey. The challenge was conveying lessons about resilience and innovation without creating unnecessary drama or appearing to settle old scores. Elena's guidance during presentation development proved invaluable, helping me structure the narrative to emphasize universal themes about merit-based leadership, the importance of taking calculated risks, and how setbacks can create opportunities for growth that wouldn't have existed in more comfortable circumstances. Her perspective ensured that the presentation would resonate with diverse audiences while showcasing Aurora Industries' achievements effectively. The morning of the conference, I arrived at the Portland Convention Center early to review the venue and test audio-visual equipment for my afternoon keynote. The building buzzed with activity as hundreds of environmental technology professionals gathered for workshops, networking sessions, and presentations about innovative solutions to sustainability challenges. Walking through the exhibition hall, I encountered numerous Aurora Industries clients and partners who greeted me with enthusiasm and shared stories about how our products had helped them achieve environmental objectives while maintaining operational efficiency. The conversations reinforced how significantly the sustainable packaging landscape had evolved since my departure from Brennan Solutions, with Aurora Industries playing a central role in driving industry transformation. The lunch session featured a panel discussion about family business succession and leadership transition challenges, moderated by a business school professor who had studied numerous cases of successful and unsuccessful generational transfer. The timing seemed deliberately coordinated with my keynote, creating context for understanding how traditional approaches to family business management could sometimes limit growth and innovation. Marcus was scheduled to participate in the succession panel, sharing insights about his experience leading Brennan Solutions through challenging competitive conditions and eventual integration with Aurora Industries. His presence on the panel represented acknowledgement that family business leadership required specific competencies that couldn't be assumed based on relationships or inherited positions. The panel discussion was remarkably candid, with Marcus openly acknowledging that technical expertise had proven more important for business success than he had initially understood. His comments about learning to recognize and utilize others' strengths while focusing on areas where his own skills were most valuable demonstrated genuine professional growth and self-awareness. When asked about the decision-making process that had led to my departure from Brennan Solutions, Marcus's response was thoughtful and honest. He acknowledged that succession planning based on traditional family dynamics rather than objective qualifications had created challenges that might have been avoided through more merit-based evaluation of leadership candidates. Dad's presence in the audience during the panel was emotionally significant, representing his willingness to hear public discussion of decisions that had profoundly affected our family relationships and business outcomes. His expression remained neutral throughout Marcus's comments, but his attention was focused and engaged in ways that suggested he was processing information that might influence his perspective on past events. The afternoon keynote session was standing room only, with an audience that included competitors, clients, potential partners, and industry observers who had followed Aurora Industries' development from startup to market leader. The introduction highlighted my transformation from family business employee to successful entrepreneur, setting the stage for a presentation that would need to balance personal story with business insight. My opening remarks focused on the universal nature of professional setbacks and the importance of viewing challenges as opportunities for growth rather than permanent obstacles to success. The theme resonated immediately with an audience of entrepreneurs and business leaders who had all experienced difficulties and disappointments in their own career journey. The presentation chronicled Aurora Industries' development from concept to industry leadership, emphasizing the role that technical innovation, strategic partnerships, and dedicated team members had played in achieving sustainable competitive advantage. The narrative deliberately avoided dwelling on family business conflicts while acknowledging that challenging circumstances had created motivation for pursuing ambitious goals. The audience response was enthusiastic and engaged, with questions that demonstrated genuine interest in the practical aspects of building a technology company and competing against established market leaders. The discussion covered topics ranging from intellectual property strategy to international expansion and the importance of maintaining organizational culture during rapid growth periods. One particularly insightful question came from a young woman who asked about balancing family relationships with business decisions when those priorities seemed to conflict. My response emphasized the importance of maintaining personal integrity while recognizing that business success ultimately benefited all stakeholders, including family members who might initially oppose specific decisions. The question and answer session extended beyond the scheduled time as audience members continued engaging with themes about leadership, innovation, and the relationship between personal values and business strategy. The sustained interest demonstrated that Aurora Industries' story resonated with professionals facing similar challenges about risk-taking, career development, and organizational leadership. Following the keynote, the networking reception provided opportunities for individual conversations with audience members who wanted to discuss partnership possibilities, career advice, or deeper insights about specific aspects of Aurora Industries' development. The interactions were energizing and reinforced the value of sharing experiences that might help others navigate their own professional challenges. Dad approached during the reception, moving slowly but deliberately through the crowd to reach. His expression was serious but not stern, suggesting he wanted to have a meaningful conversation rather than offering routine congratulations about the presentation. The moment felt significant, given the public setting and the audience of industry professionals who knew our family business history. His words were simple but profound, acknowledging that my departure from Brennan Solutions had ultimately created more value for everyone involved than remaining within the traditional family business structure would have achieved. The admission represented complete validation of decisions that had seemed risky and potentially destructive when originally made under emotional and uncertain circumstances. The conversation continued privately in a quiet corner of the reception area, where Dad expressed regret about the original succession decision while emphasizing his pride in Aurora Industries' achievements and the positive impact our success had created for clients, employees, and the broader environmental technology industry. His perspective had evolved significantly as the results became undeniable and the benefits extended beyond immediate family interest. Marcus joined our conversation, creating an opportunity for three-way dialogue about lessons learned and relationships rebuilt through professional collaboration rather than family hierarchy. The dynamic was fundamentally different from interactions within the original family business structure, based on mutual respect earned through demonstrated competence rather than assumed based on relationships or organizational position. The conference concluded with an awards ceremony recognizing outstanding achievements in environmental technology innovation and business leadership. Aurora Industries received the Industry Impact Award for our contributions to sustainable packaging development, while I was honored with the Entrepreneur of the Year recognition for building a successful company that addressed significant market needs while creating positive environmental outcomes. Accepting the awards provided opportunities for brief remarks about the importance of persistence, the value of surrounding yourself with talented people, and the necessity of maintaining focus on long-term objectives even when facing immediate challenges and setbacks. The themes resonated with an audience of professionals who understood the difficulties of building successful businesses in competitive and rapidly evolving markets. The evening after the conference, Elena, Patricia, David, and I gathered for dinner at a restaurant overlooking the Willamette River, celebrating not just the day's recognition but the extraordinary journey that had transformed a family business conflict into industry-leading success. The conversation covered memories from Aurora Industries' early days, reflections on challenges overcome, and excitement about future opportunities for continued growth and innovation. David's perspective on the transformation was particularly meaningful given his decision to follow me from Brennan Solutions despite the risks involved in joining an unproven startup. His loyalty and contributions had been instrumental in Aurora Industries' technical success, while his career development from supporting role to senior leadership position demonstrated how entrepreneurial companies could create advancement opportunities that might not exist in established organizations. Patricia's reflections focused on the strategic decisions that had shaped Aurora Industries' competitive positioning and growth trajectory, emphasizing how principled leadership and focus on long-term value creation had enabled sustainable success despite competitive pressures and market challenges. Her experience integrating operations after the Brennan Solutions acquisition had provided valuable insights about organizational culture and change management. The dinner conversation gradually shifted toward future possibilities as Aurora Industries approached decisions about long-term strategic direction and potential exit strategies for Meridian Capital's investment. The options included continued growth as an independent company, strategic acquisition by multinational corporations seeking environmental technology capabilities, or public offering that could provide liquidity while maintaining operational independence. Elena's analysis of these alternatives emphasized the importance of maintaining Aurora Industries' innovative culture and environmental mission regardless of ownership structure or scale. Her experience with technology company evolution had taught her that preserving founder values and organizational identity was crucial for sustaining competitive advantages that depended on human capital and creative problem-solving capability. The following morning brought news that 3 major corporations had submitted preliminary acquisition proposals for Aurora Industries, apparently motivated by the conference presentation and industry recognition that had reinforced our market leadership position. The timing suggested that strategic buyers were actively monitoring environmental technology companies and moving quickly when attractive opportunities became available. Meridian Capital's response to the acquisition interest was measured enthusiasm, recognizing that premium valuations reflected Aurora Industries' successful development while acknowledging that their investment timeline contemplated several more years of growth before pursuing exit strategy. The multiple approaches provided validation of investment returns while creating options for liquidity when market conditions and strategic objectives aligned appropriately. The drive back to Austin provided time for reflection on how dramatically circumstances had changed since my last extended visit to Portland 6 years earlier. The city looked the same, but my relationship to it had transformed completely, from the place where my career had seemingly ended to a location where industry recognition validated decisions that had required courage and faith in uncertain outcomes. The conference experience had provided closure on personal issues while reinforcing Aurora Industries' position as a thought leader in sustainable packaging innovation. The public recognition of our achievements, combined with family reconciliation and strategic opportunities for continued growth, represented complete vindication of the entrepreneurial path that had emerged from professional disappointment and family conflict. Aurora Industries entered its 7th year with revenues approaching $150 million annually, technology leadership in sustainable packaging solutions, and strategic options that included continued independence or partnership with organizations that could accelerate global expansion. The success had exceeded every projection made during the early planning stages, demonstrating how adversity could create motivation for achieving extraordinary results. The relationship with Marcus had evolved into genuine partnership based on complementary skills and shared commitment to Aurora Industries' continued success. His contributions to operational efficiency and client relationship management were increasingly valuable as the company's scale required sophisticated coordination across multiple facilities and market segments. Dad's acknowledgement that merit-based leadership decisions would have served Brennan Solutions better than traditional family succession approaches represented personal closure while reinforcing lessons about organizational effectiveness and competitive advantage. His pride in Aurora Industries' achievements had replaced any regret about family business outcomes, creating positive relationships based on mutual respect rather than hierarchical dynamics. The transformation from family business exile to industry leadership had required courage, persistence, and willingness to risk comfortable positions for the possibility of creating something more meaningful and substantial. The journey demonstrated that sometimes the most important career decisions require abandoning security for the uncertainty of pursuing ambitious goals that align with personal values and professional capability. Looking toward the future, Aurora Industries was positioned for continued growth through technology innovation, strategic partnerships, and geographic expansion that could extend our environmental impact while providing attractive returns for shareholders and meaningful careers for employees. The foundation built through years of challenging work and strategic decision-making created opportunities for sustained success in markets that valued environmental responsibility and technical excellence. The story that began with professional betrayal and family conflict had evolved into industry leadership and personal fulfillment that exceeded what might have been possible within traditional family business structure. Sometimes the cruelest setbacks create opportunities for growth that transform both individuals and industries in ways that benefit everyone involved. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.